Today I thought we would unbox and take a quick look at another interesting dash cam. This is the Papago GoSafe 520. According to the box, as you can see, this does 2K Ultra HD video. Ultra HD not meaning 4K here. It has the Ambarella A7L chipset in it, which, if you remember, the Xiaomi Yi camera uses the A7LS, so it's kind of similar. But when we go ahead and break into the box, you're going to see, first off, a user manual and warranty card, a mini USB cable, a really long mini USB cable for the car, with the included car plug, as well as a suction cup mount. Taking a look at the camera itself, on the front you're going to notice that 146-degree wide-angle lens first off. It has an f2.0 aperture and 4-megapixel HDR capable sensor. On the side you'll see the mini HDMI port, a micro SD card slot which requires at least an 8GB card or it will complain at you. You can get about 4 hours of footage on a 32GB card and it will take up to a 64GB card if you update the firmware. On the bottom of the device you'll find the reset button as well as the mic, and on the top you'll find the mini USB power port, which is super duper awkward, a power button as well as an alert/warning button, and of course the mounting slot so you can, mount it on your dashboard. On the back you'll see the 3-inch 16:9 display, mode, up, down, and OK buttons on the right hand side, and at this point it's probably about time to move on to some of the footage from the device. There are a bunch of different resolutions available for this, but primarily I tended to stick to the 2304 by 1296 at 30 frames per second, which I would assume is what they're calling 2K. It's about 18 megabits per second. I also use the 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames per second option a lot because 1080p is really not bad at all. And that was at 10 megabits per second. There's also this really weird 2560 by 1080p 21:9 resolution, and it's at 30 frames per second also, and I used it very briefly to test. It does give you that extra bit of wide angleness, but if you wanted to use the video for anything other than just watching it back, you've got black bars on it, you're gonna have it's sort of a cinematic thing and it's not a cinematic camera. Looking at the actual footage, there's not a massive amount of difference between 2K and 1080p. Obviously there's a higher bitrate, you're gonna have more pixels being pushed there, but it's not that big of a difference. You're not seeing a huge amount of extra clarity, you're not seeing much else, period. It is very clear footage one way or the other. Now some downers here, you cannot turn off the date and time, at least not as far as I can see. You can remove the little GoSafe text, the little yellow text at the bottom of the image that you see there. You just have to go in and edit the logo.txt file on your SD card and then set it to read only, or else the system will write that file back and automatically put it at the bottom of every video. Now out of the box, I had some weird issues with the audio. I'll go ahead and include a quick clip here showing you how it worked, just 21:9 with the included audio. So I'm just doing a super quick and super weird test of the ultra-wide 21:9 resolution footage from the Papago GoSafe 520. But after the firmware update, you can see how the audio has improved. Check this out. And here's just a little bit of a quick test after I did the firmware update. This is the 21:9 mode again. You'll notice you can probably hear me an awful lot better. The video doesn't really look any better. It looks about the same realistically, but the audio is significantly improved, much louder, so big thumbs up there. So that is a pretty massive, significant performance improvement in terms of just the audio quality, the audio amount, the volume you can get out of it. Because previously the microphone was just not terribly usable in it. Now it's semi-usable. And as far as one of the more important things for it, how does it do in night driving? It does pretty well. It gets a little bit grainy, as you would kind of expect, but it's really not all that bad. It's very usable footage. In terms of figuring out what things are and being able to discern things in the night, I'd call that usable. The HDR mode I tested sort of on and off. It didn't make a massive difference. It does help in the darker areas. It's HDR, that's kind of the point, but watching the clips back and forth, I didn't see a huge amount of difference between it, to be honest. So to go ahead and wrap this up, to try to keep the video relatively short, this is a $125 camera, $130 sort of depending on the day. And I previously reviewed a camera from Osdom that's very similar to this, and it's around the same price range. So compared to the Osdom, do I think that the Papago is worth it over it? I think they're really close. They both have excellent quality, they both use Ambarella processing, they both have decent lenses on them. The Papago has a bigger and slightly better screen, but the placement of the mini USB port is weird on it. I would assume maybe if you mounted it upside down, like actually on your dashboard, it might be a better placement for it, but the way that a lot of people I would assume are going to mount it is on the actual windshield, which means that USB port is going to be facing up. They do have mounting instructions on their website. I didn't use any of those, obviously. I just stuck it in the car. So it was just kind of awkward having the USB port sticking out of the top. I would assume if I used some tape or if I mounted it properly, I could get that cord out of the way, but as it stands was kind of in the way for me. Having it on the side or on the bottom, I think would be a little bit better option. It is still a great camera though. Good video quality, now decent audio quality, and you can put up to a 64 gig card in it. So so I'm a big fan. I will put links down in the video description to where you can go check this out over on Amazon. Thanks to Papago for sending this out for a review. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up below the video, lets me know that you liked it, obviously. Subscribe to receive more of my videos when they become available, and we'll see you again next time.